So you've been paying attention, you found this game, Illuvium. It's a Web3 game, but you don't have a ton of money to put into this game. You're not some big whale. This video is going to tell you what I would do if I only had a little or no money to spend on this game. Now, if you are a big whale in the space or money is not an issue for you, I do have a bonus here coming at the end that is going to be just for you, so I'd stick around for that. So let's get right into it. So in this pre-open beta stage, so basically right now up until some point in Q1 of 2024, so let's say February. So for the next 3 to 4 months, what I think you should be doing is dollar cost averaging into SILV2. Now, if you're not aware, SILV2 can be used for in-game purchases equal to the ILV price. Now, none of this is financial advice, but I would say that SILV2 under 40 or even under $50 is a good buy. But the more important thing is to look at the SILV2 percentage versus the ILV percentage. And in that case, I would say anytime you can get SILV2 for under 75% or even under 70% of that ILV is a good time to buy. Now, if you can only put away like an extra $5 per week, then put away that $5 per week. I would wait till you can at least purchase one SILV2 or like $50 worth of this, because there are going to be some transaction fees. But I would try to get some of that SILV2 and just hold on to it for later. Later in this video, I'll get into why. So follow socials. Follow all the socials that Illuvium has, all content creators. Anytime there's a big update, there's usually some giveaways. I know I've personally had some giveaways for wave 1 and wave 2 of the Illuvatars. And if you're active in this community, you're more than likely going to win something. So if you win some discs or some crypto or NFTs in the Illuvium ecosystem, sell that off, maybe buy some SILV2 with it. Again, hold on to that for the open beta. And the last thing you want to be doing right now is playing the private beta. The better you are at this game, the more money efficient you're going to be when it comes to building up your deck and getting to where you want to be. So the PvP is about to come out probably in this next month and a half. You want to get in as much practice as you can before the open beta. So in the early stages, so we're looking at 3 to 6 months. I think you should be focusing a lot on those stage 0 runs. They're free and you can earn the tier 0 alluvials. And you may not think these are going to have a ton of value, but I promise you they're going to have some value, because they're going to take time to acquire, and time equals money. If you're able to build up from a lesser Doka to a normal Doka to a greater Doka that has good internal stats and a high level, you can definitely sell that on the marketplace to get some Ethereum to put back to going on those higher stage runs. So for the stage 1 runs, I would stick to that if you're going to do anything paid. They're the cheapest ones. And from what I can tell, a stage 1 to a stage 2 to a stage 3, the value you can extract from these scales up pretty evenly. So if a stage 3 costs 20 times more to go on than a stage 1, then you're probably just going to get 20 times the value. So I wouldn't worry about going on those stage 3 runs. I would focus mostly on those stage 0, stage 1. Now, if you're on the stage 1 and you happen to come across a rare alluvial or a stage 2, stage 3 alluvial, in these first 3 to 6 months, there's going to be a lot of hype and a lot of people are going to be trying to build out their teams, build out their decks, and that's going to be mostly the whale game. What I think you should be doing is taking those rare things that you find, those higher tier alluvials, maybe something with really good stats, selling it. I think selling in this initial 3 to 6 months is going to get you some good value for whatever you came up with. And then again, you can reinvest that into traveling more. When it comes to what you're keeping and what you're selling from farming these overworld runs, I would only keep what you need to continue and sell everything else off. There's going to be a time later on where you can start collecting, building your team. But if you want to set yourself up for the long term in this early stage, farm and sell. Now, in the midterm for open beta, so we're looking for 12 to 18 months, so a year and a half after open beta release. If we're going by the normal crypto cycles, this is going to be the time where we're in the most bullish phase. We're getting that adoption. More people are entering the game. Coins are going up. Bitcoin's going up. ILV is likely going up. All of that SILV2 that you've been accumulating, now until open beta, now is the time to spend that on these overworld runs. And one of the reasons why I'd say you probably should be waiting for this 12 to 18 months to be spending that SILV2 is because think about it. Right now you can get an SILV2 for, I don't know, somewhere between $30 and $35. By the time we get into this bull run, the ILV token could easily be worth $500, which means that $30 you're spending today could be worth $500 in game when we get into this bull market. So at that point, that's when you're going to want to spend on this. That's when you start going to those stage 2, stage 3 regions, getting the best alluvials you possibly can, focusing on the overworld, even if you're a PvP player. And again, this is still a point where you want to sell out for that higher value. So moving on to the long-term plan. So now we're looking at about 2 years post-launch. Now I know that seems pretty far out, but I bet you it's going to go pretty quick. By the time we get to this 2 years, we're looking like we've already probably passed the peak of the bull run. So Bitcoin probably already went up. Hopefully it went to $250,000. It's starting on its way down. It takes everything else down with it. Even though this is a video game, people are going to be playing this. The ILV token is likely to drop in price, and we're likely to lose some players. So at this point, hopefully you already spent most of that SILV2 farming the overworld and selling those alluvials, because now at this 2-year point is the time where you really get the shine. Prices are starting to come down. At this point, you really don't need to be buying SILV2 or fuel and holding on to it. Because if we're entering another bear market like we've just sat through, then the prices are going to keep going down. So I would stick to just buying as needed. Buy the fuel, go on the run. Don't be buying a ton now and saving it for later. Like I said, during this time, prices are going to be dropping. This is when you want to build out that team that you want. Maybe that Malura or that Riptor, stage 3 that was probably a little too pricey in the bull market. You're starting to see those prices come down. So now you can start combing through that Illuvidex, seeing these prices drop down. The people who want to just get some liquidity before we get into a real bear market, and you can take advantage of that and build out your team for PvP. Now, this is all speculative. Don't take this as financial advice, but this is just the plan that I would go on if I didn't really want to spend much in game. And this is probably what I'm going to tell some friends and family who maybe are not quite as big of a believer as me. So let's move on to this last bonus point. These are going to be your scholarships or sponsorships, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you didn't want to spend any money at all, or you really didn't have much to spend, finding a scholarship from like some whale in the space who is willing to kind of fund you to go out into this overworld. You play the game as normal, but you split the returns with the person who's funding you. So that's going to be another easy way to get in very low cost or no cost at all to start accumulating your Illuvium portfolio. And this also goes for who are whales in this space. If you want another way to build up your Illuvium deck, your Illuvium assets, you can fund somebody else. You make another account, fund it, let somebody play that account, and then you split the resources that person gathers. It's a win-win situation. I know there are going to be a lot of people who don't like the idea of scholarships, but I truly believe it's because they don't understand it. I've made videos about scholarships before, and I'm going to be making more. I can promise you that. So if you're interested in doing that, either becoming a scholar or setting up some scholarships, you definitely want to make sure you're subscribed to this channel. And feel free to reach out to me on Discord or X, because this is something I'm definitely going to be, taking part of when open beta comes out. But that's it. Whether you're going to be a free-to-play player, you're going to be a whale in this space, there is a path to success. I'm definitely in that middle range. I'm not some big whale. I can't just drop money like it's nothing, but I do have enough money to make things work. So I'm going to be really in that metagame of how I can get the most out of the money I'm spending. And even as somebody who does have a little bit to spend on it, I'm going to be sticking with some of these same strategies. In that really early phase of the game, if I get something rare, I'm probably going to try to sell it off while the hype is there and while the bigger whales do want to spend that money. As I get later on, maybe when we get into that next bear market cycle is when I'm really going to load up and build up the team that I really want. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like it. Catch you next.